Hello. There's Arch. And
Man,
there's
you were
Varia.
waiting for 4 o'clock.
Huh?
You were waiting
Who?
for
Oh, there he goes.
Yep, there he goes.
Down the well. Bye,
uh,
Perion.
Let's find.
You've turned into a robot, sir.
Is that what you call it?
Something like that.
oh.
Hmm?
Is that me or is that all? Oh,
Huh?
okay. Are we good?
Hello? Oh, there he went. And he's back. Hello?
Hmm.
Hmm?
Can you hear me clearly or no?
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah,
you
we can hear you
fine.
now. Can,
Sure.
can you hear us clearly?
Okay.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Or it sounds like Discord's crapping out in your end.
turn it off and turn it back on again.
Should be a P.
Hmm?
Just get some of these layers and stuff set up.
Yeah.
Oh, oh my god, I need that.
What? What do you need?
It's a little, I think it's a little saber tooth sticker, and it's so cute.
Oh.
I think there's also a, what's called? So there's also a watch or something? Yeah. A saber tooth tiger watch. It's really funny. Something like Puke Puke. See. I guess we'll just wait for Hyperion to get back before I really get started.
Yes. Looks like he's almost back.
Almost, maybe,
He's in the
hopefully.
audience.
Do,
He's
do,
typing.
do. He's the only one in the audience. Oof.
Oh, okay.
No. Okay,
Is
that sucks.
Discord just
Well
being
then,
wonky?
hmm.
Hmm.
Do you have like a storm or something going over your area or in your area?
Hmm.
Weird. Probably just Discord being stupid then.
Could be.
Well then, Eighth, I'm gonna need you to relay to me what he's saying
Can do.
because, thank you.
Hmm.
Um, well, yeah, I guess we can start whenever you guys are.
Let's go.
What about you, Hyperion?
Hubba.
Wow. Do you think we need to restart?
It sounds like it. When was the last time you restarted your PC, Varion?
Yeah,
Hmm.
sounds about right. Hold on.
Okay. You may need to do again, because I know sometimes everything doesn't work when you restart it sometimes. Because I have to restart mine a couple times sometimes.
Oh my god. Press the moment I undeafen, she starts barking. God.
It's okay.
Anywho,
I'm used to barking.
so today we're doing something very different. We are not doing a hybrid creature. We are actually working on the base genomes for the tier 3 creatures. And since I already had a couple of them completed for my personal project, I'm going to go ahead and use like the bases of what I had, for the chart whenever we get ready to do that. So, creature number one, I'm going to start with this one because I feel like it might take the longest, is Smilodon fatalis. For those of you who don't know, Smilodon fatalis is one of two North American species of saber-toothed cat. You have Smilodon fatalis and Smilodon gracilis, which is the earlier of the two. Of course, there are other, quote unquote saber-toothed cats, or the group called the Machairodonts, like Homotherium and Xenosmilus. But they've got different, I guess you could call them common names, because Homotherium is often called the scimitar-toothed cat, and then Xenosmilus, because uniquely among, if memory serves, uniquely among all felines, its canine teeth were serrated. So it has been given the nickname of the cookie cutter cat, which I find very interesting. But yes, today we're going to be starting off with Smilodon fatalis, which is a species very near and dear to my heart, as you can probably tell by my Discord icon. Is the Smilodon, I believe it's a Smilodon fatalis from Life on Our Planet. I haven't seen Life on Our Planet yet, so I don't know what species of Smilodon it is, because there are three species. There is, again, like I said earlier, Smilodon gracilis, which is the smallest and the geologically oldest of the three species. Then you have Smilodon fatalis, which, evolved from S. gracilis. And then you also have Smilodon populador, which is only known from South America. And Smilodon populador is one of, if not the largest felids to ever live. Most individuals, from what I know and from what I understand, have been recorded about 800 pounds, so that's around, I think, 400 kilograms. And then there have been some fragmentary remains of individuals that might suggest that they could get up to 1,000 pounds, which is half a ton of cat, which is very scary.
Damn.
Yeah, big kitty. I think the only other felids that are on par, if not might be potentially larger, if those supposedly larger Smilodon popular specimens turn out to be more or less average sized, are the American lion, so Panthera atrox, and then the Nandong tiger, which I don't know what the species name for that one is. It's Panthera something. That much I know. But yeah, Smilodon is among the last, and obviously it is the largest of the Machairodont cats, which are, I don't want to say easily recognizable, but they're kind of recognizable, as they're normally decently sized cats, fairly short tails in much of the later genera, elongated canines. Smilodon being the most famous of that attribute. This group, I believe, if memory serves, can trace its roots. I think both. Actually, yeah, both the Machairodont family, as well as, surprisingly, the genus Puma, which include, I think only today includes the modern day mountain lion, puma, catamount, cougar, screamer, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
They trace their ancestry back to Africa. I believe it's in the Miocene or the Pliocene. But I'm getting off topic. Smilodon. So one thing we know about Smilodon, at least Smilodon fatalis, which is the species that we're using for Wake of Pandora, the base genome for one of our creatures, we know it was, like many cats today, an ambush hunter, and more recently, given I think it was an isotopic analysis study, on the cat, where we were able to determine not only what it ate, but kind of, in a sense, able to determine what kind of environment Smilodon fatalis was living in back in Ice Age North America. Memory serves, the isotopic analyses suggested that Smilodon would have been eating things like North American tapirs, bison, I believe camels and horses were both on that list, but not as prevalent, which lends the belief of Smilodon being a more forest hunter. So, as with, you guys can see here with this iteration I did for my personal project, I've given it a very splotchy coat, kind of akin to an ocelot or a bobcat, one really big bobcat.
Mm-hmm.
A buck-toothed bobcat. There you go.
I mean,
And shout out to Miller Rex, if you're watching this and you hear me say that. Thank you for introducing me to that name. So we're gonna do something kind of similar here, but we're also gonna take some stuff from this, which is a petroglyph, which was, I believe, found in Arizona at some point. And it depicts what is likely a saber-toothed cat. Very obviously, these long supposed teeth here. Some have argued, oh no, it's just a bobcat, and those are supposed to be whiskers. I don't know. That seems a little toothy to me. But here on the petroglyph, you can see that it's got some sort of kind of like a, I don't want to say a marbled patterning, but it's a spotted sort of pattern.
mm-hmm.
So again, that kind of lends credence to the whole, okay, Smilodon had a spotted pattern of some sort. But what I'm going to try to do today is, instead of basing it solely off of, excuse me, it's like ocelot. Actually, what did I use as references for this old one? Oh, okay. Never mind. I don't have those here. But,
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, what?
You were saying you didn't have them here. I was like, oh.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
yeah. I know where they're at, but I'm not gonna bother pulling them up.
Fair enough.
I'm trying to see jaguar, leopard. Might add in a little bit of cheetah into it too. Because again, from that sort of an illustration, you can only really tell, hey, this thing's spotted. We don't know if it's, simple spots, but cheetahs, or most cheetahs, looking at you lucky king cheetahs that have this gorgeous patterning. We don't know if it, we can't really tell if it was something along the lines of a rosette pattern, like on modern leopards, or maybe a step further, like jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
So again, there's so much we can find out about extinct species, but only so much, and it's kind of sad, especially something that we humans actually saw once upon a time. Because Smilodon is, I think, as far as the base genomes go, one of the most recent creatures of the base genome roster, having gone extinct, I think, roughly 8,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, somewhere in there. And of course, we have Panthera atrox as well, as another, gone but not forgotten kind of a thing. Maybe I should petroglyph. There, with the cheetah. There, okay. Actually, another interesting study about Smilodon came out this year, actually, in regards to its vocalizations. Now, I'm sure many of you who are watching this on YouTube are very familiar with, a lion or a tiger, or those kinds of sounds that you very often hear in media that they give these animals. Oh, that's actually kind of pretty.
Mm-hmm. It's like a snowy.
But Kind of
Snowy
like a
coat.
snow leopard.
Hmm.
Yeah. But according to this study that, again, recently came out, like, within the last few months, it seems that Smilodon could not roar, supposedly.
Hmm.
Now, this was, if memory serves, this was because they were looking at the what's wrong there? They were looking at the hyoid bones, which are the bones in the throat that many animals have, including us, that help us vocalize. And there is a reason as to why big cats, specifically within the genus Panthera, like the jaguar and leopard here, can roar, but they can't purr, and why quote unquote small cats, like our lovely little cheetah over here, and things like mountain lions, Puma's the same thing. Sorry, mountain lions, bobcats, and very own house cat that you've got at home can't. Again, it all has to do with the shape of their hyoid bone. And according to, again, this recent study, it suggests that Smilodon could not roar. But a lovely friend of ours, actually, some time ago, when he heard about this new study, I think I had actually just mentioned it to him, and he was like, "Oh my god, I know what to do. I will get back to you within a few days." And he did, and oh my god, he and another friend of ours had gotten together and created their own kind of saber-tooth roar. And if I could link it, oh my god, Nick, if you're out there watching this, dude, oh man, I wish I could stream that for the people in here so freaking bad because it's so good. Um, it's kind of like a mixture between kind of like what you would expect a mountain lion to sound like, and like that screaming sound, but it's also got that deep guttural bit to it. A little more there. Oh, this isn't working. Let's start over. So yeah, in other words, we know a fair bit about Smilodon. It is one of, if not the most famous of all North American megafauna, extinct megafauna.
Oh,
It's probably, huh?
a Perion. He's benched for the
Oh,
day.
I'm sorry. You got done with the you helped me get done with the brachiosaurs, and then Discord was like, no, sorry.
No. This is your life now.
um, but yeah, we have thousands upon thousands of specimens of Smilodon at Rancho La Brea, aka the La Brea Tar Pits. And we've got individuals of various ages, all sorts of injuries that we've got on some of these individuals. There are some that had, I think there's one specimen that had a dislocated limb. Like you could actually see the damage done to the hip from where the limb had been dislocated.
Oof.
And the fact that it healed, this bone shows signs of healing, is solid evidence that Smilodon likely lived in groups. So whether, how big the groups were, what the social structure was, we may never know. We just know that Smilodon likely lived in groups. And that's not all. We also have a few specimens, actually, of Smilodon that seem to have been a mother and her cubs. I don't remember if this is also Rancho La Brea, or if it was found somewhere else in North America, or maybe even might not even be Smilodon fatalis. It might. I'll have to look back at it. But the cubs themselves are about 2 years old at the time of their death, and they still had their adult teeth coming in. Like they still had both sets of teeth. Saber cats are kind of weird. because when their adult teeth come in, they still have their baby teeth, like, as far as their sabers. They've got 2 sets of sabers. Once they get to a certain age, and of course, the baby sabers fall out and they're replaced by the adult sabers. So, and again, these cubs are about 2 years old and they're still showing these attributes. And again, it's a very likely sign that okay, yeah, Smilodon likely did live in groups because that mom, that saber cat mom, probably would have not have been able to take on a whole bunch of game to feed 2 ever hungry cubs by herself. Okay, yeah, sure, Smilodon was a very powerful predator. These animals are literally just like a mixture between a lion and a bear as far as, like, I guess, anatomy goes. Because, unlike modern lions and, many other felines today, they don't go for a bite to the throat and they just suffocate the prey and just clamping down. In a lot of cases, it's likely that Smilodon would have just literally gone for the jugular with those saber teeth. Jugular, the windpipe, the saber teeth would sever it. Of course, the animal would bleed out or suffocate to death that way. We even have, from Smilodon popular lore, actually, we have, I think it was some isotomic analyses of them that at least some individuals of Smilodon popular lore hunted caimans, which is not something you would think of a saber cat doing. Those teeth, they're so delicate, I mean, the name, Smilodon gracilis only means gracile knife tooth. Because, those teeth aren't really going to stand up to much, supposedly. But, these things are eating caimans. We don't know how they killed the caimans. It's very possible that they could have used them like modern jaguars and just gone right into the skull.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have some evidence of them doing that, or saber-tooths doing that to Liptodon. So things like Dodocurus, those large armadillo relatives. An even more, I guess, more so morbid fact about specifically S. populator is the fact that we have evidence of them doing that technique to each other. There have been several Smilodon skulls found in South America that there is a hole in the top of the skull, right where the brain would be, right above the brain case. And the only thing that would have made a hole like that at that time would have been the canine of another saber-toothed cat. Whether they were deliberately doing this, or if this was just, I guess, some sort of freak accident that just, I guess, happened to happen multiple times, we don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, again, Smilodon, we know so much about it because we've got so many specimens, all thanks to one little tar pit. We know, the diets. We know that, more than likely the preferred habitat. We know likely their social structure, or possibly their social structure. Again, we're still not exactly certain what kind of social structure these big guys had.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as far as base colors go, Karen, how does that look? Good soft?
Good
Okay.
soft.
Okay, good. like velvet. I would highly advise against petting this kitty. Because you go to pet him, you might lose a hand. Or an arm. Or you might wind up like that one person in Primeval who owned a saber-toothed cat and got mauled.
Oh no.
Brain impalement. Yeah, brain impalement. Yeah. Actually. Let's see if I can find that. Not the clip of the Smilodon attacking her, but because it's got a fairly good pattern that I could potentially use. Wait a minute. Never mind.
Brain.
I think I just found the basis of the Paleoarc sabers.
Oh. Aperion asks the tar pits, were they covered by ground for a long time, or were they exposed? Ugh.
They would have been exposed.
Hmm.
The big thing though is that how the animals. Oh yeah, they were exposed when we found them. Like I'm pretty sure they were exposed. I can double check, but actually, you know what? I'll do that right now. Let me see.
Interesting.
Yeah, of course, everyone knows about the La Brea tar pits. How the animals got stuck, and yada yada yada. Um, let's see. Oh yeah, no. Yeah, they would have been exposed. According to Wikipedia, the Chumash and Tongva people used tar from the pits to build plank boats by stealing planks of California redwood trunks and pieces of driftwood from the Santa Barbara Channel, which they used to navigate the California coastline and Channel Islands. The Portola expedition, a group of Spanish explorers led by Gaspar de Portola, made the first written record of the tar pits in 1969. Father Juan Crescepi wrote, while crossing the basin, the scouts reported having seen some geysers of tar issuing from the ground like springs. It boils up molten, and the water runs to one side and the tar to the other. The scouts reported that they had come across many of these springs and had seen large swamps of them, enough, they said, to caulk many vessels. We were not so lucky ourselves to see these tar geysers, much though we wished it, as it was some distance out of the way we were to take. The governor, Portola, did not want us to go past them. We christened them Los Volcanes de Brea, the tar volcanoes. Yeah. See a little bit of history with your prehistory there, everybody.
Very good.
Try to do like a darker brown for the base color of these spots. Yeah, maybe not. Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Hmm?
Oh, just some weird blending around the eye like we need to get rid of.
Fair enough. It tends to happen sometimes.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, Smilodon was at least Espitalis, was a forest-dwelling cat. I don't know if they would have had tear marks like this, because tear marks, again, like on cheetahs, is, let me zoom in on it, is more for an open plains kind of animal. So, potentially, I guess, Smilodon populator could have had them, because I think Smilodon populator was a bit more of an open plains creature, too. I just don't know. I don't know a whole lot about South American megafauna. I know a lot about North American megafauna. And I know who lived in South America at the time. I just don't know what it was like down. I know it was actually colder. Like we have evidence of Smilodon all the way down to, I think, near the southern tip of South America. We actually have trackways of Smilodon from South America. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Here we go. So I'll just put it in chat for everyone to see. That is a fossilized track, an ichno trace fossil of, again, very likely Smilodon.
Mm-hmm.
And they are bigger than those of modern Bengal tigers, which is kind of scary. It just goes to show that, Smilodon populidor was a massive animal. Then, let me see if I can find an image here. Well, here's a picture of one of the researchers next to one of the prints that they uncovered. Or a couple of the prints they uncovered. So, like, that paw print, just by the, looking at it, it's a little bit bigger than that guy's hand.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit bigger, yeah. Can find. That's not a saber-tooth cat trap. That's okay. So let me see if I can find size comparison of the three species with one another, so you guys can kind of see what I've been talking about. Jeez, if I can find one. Yeah, I'm not using that side. That's terrible. But if memory serves, though, an interesting. Oh, here we go. An interesting thing about Smilodon gracilis is, if memory serves, it lived alongside a terror bird, the North American terror bird Kalenkin. Or, I'm sorry, not Kalenkin. Jeez, what am I on? Titanus. Jeez. Huh. Look, they're both big terror birds. You can't fault me for.
It's okay.
Let's see. Okay, here we go. There we are. So, obviously green is Smilodon populidor, purple is Smilodon fatalis, and orange is S. gracilis. And of course, these are more of like the average sizes of these animals. So, again, the larger specimens of Smilodon populidor might have been quite a deal larger than shown there. As far as like the facial markings go, Perion, how does this look so far? Alrighty. One thing I know all large felids have are ear markings, so I'm going to give our big boy those too.
Ears.
Which actually, speaking of ears, it brings me back to that petroglyph. Because if that petroglyph is indeed Smilodon fatalis, it might mean that Smilodon fatalis actually had ear tufts. You can see them. You can kind of see them here on the petroglyph, like right in here and right in there. So yeah. So I get, again, that I guess also lends a little more credence about it possibly being a bobcat instead. But again, we can't talk with the people who made that petroglyph, so we will more than likely never know.
Yeah.
Which kind of a shame, if you ask me.
Well, hello.
Do you want me to continue with try doing stuff for the face, or do you want me to go ahead and move on to the rest of the body of Arion? Got it. Let's see. We'll take a little more inspiration from the leopard, because it seems they've got kind of uniform-ish spots along the head, neck, and lower arms.
Mhm.
So actually, that was one thing I was wanting to include. Lighter color on the bottom of the feet. Those toe pads darker too. They should kind of stand out a little bit more. What? I guess if anyone has any, if there's anyone else in the audience other than Perion, well, I guess really if anyone in general has any questions about this guy, I can do my best to answer them. I'm gonna need you to read them off to me, Eighth, if anybody has questions.
Yeah, I got you.
Thank you.
I think it's just Perion right now, but that's okay.
Sad. Yeah, we've got what? Just under hour and a half.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hold on.
Okie dokie. Ow.
Just texted me. Anyway. Something else I can do, I guess.
Hmm.
I'm sure those are like folds in the skin, but kind of break up that white pattern.
Mhm.
Guess this guy will be a bit of a saber-toothed tiger after all.
Oh boy.
He's trying to get more. I guess I could talk about some of Smilodon's relatives. Another fairly well-known one is the genus Homotherium, which it was pretty much the cat that took over the world. We have fossils of Homotherium from almost every corner of the north, or pretty much actually no, every corner of the northern hemisphere, and
Yeah,
we
I'd
have
be
them
able
from
to.
Africa as well.
Mhm.
If memory serves, they first evolved in Africa a couple million years ago and just spread almost globally to Eurasia, then into North America. Some reports saying even into South America. But I think the members of that species, Homotherium venezuelensis, I think is what it was. I'll have to double check. I do believe those individuals, or at least that individual, has been reclassified as a species of Xenosmilus, which I mentioned earlier was the cookie cutter cat. Unlike our big boy here, Smilodon, Homotherium, the scimitar-toothed cat, obviously didn't have these massive canines that jutted out of the mouth. Their canines would have been a lot smaller, still very deadly, but they were probably small enough to have been concealed in life. Like, they would have just been concealed by lips. We actually know quite a bit about Homotherium's life appearance. There was a study done, it was last year, maybe the year before, on Homotherium, and they actually, I don't think it was it genetic material? I don't think it was genetic. See, now I gotta look this up. Yada 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 yada. I think this is it here. Let's see. Appearance of H.
Welcome,
lepidans.
Miller.
Hello, Miller. Actually, you might be able to help me out here. Talking a little bit here about Homotherium, because it's another very well-known saber-toothed cat. But I was trying to find, because I do believe there was a study either this year or last year that was about the life appearance of Homotherium. Like, we had actually deduced something about its life appearance, and it was I think it was very lion-like, if memory serves, as far as life appearance goes. But as far as that's just more or less of the coat color, all that sort of stuff. Instead of hunting the there we go. That makes it stand out a bit more. Instead of hunting things like tapirs and bison, like Smilodon would have been hunting, Homotherium actually was going after, for a majority of its range, fast-moving prey, things like horses, Saiga antelope, probably in Eurasia. But another thing Homotherium was very, very good at, was hunting mammoths. There is a cave it's called Friesenhund Cave in Texas. and associated with the remains of what likely was I guess you could say, a pride of Homotherium, were the bones of over 400 mammoth calves, which is insane. And of course, this wouldn't have been within like one season. This would have been generations of this cave being used by this group of cats, and just over time they had accumulated all the bones from their kills into that den site, probably as a way of keeping them hidden, or keeping the carcasses hidden from the large predators, the larger predators that would have stalked North America at the time too. Things like I mentioned earlier, Panthera atrox, Smilodon, the Arctodus, the short-faced bear. Um, uh, even modern grizzlies, I guess. The what grizzly that I can't think of any brown bear of any population. Grizzly, Kodiak, Eurasian, Himalayan. I can't see any of them willingly going up to duke it out with a Homotherium over a mammoth carcass. But yeah, it's really something. And I do believe we might even have actual cave paintings of Homotherium in Europe, because the Lascaux cave paintings, Homotherium would have been around at that time, or roughly around that time in that place, for them to have been put up on the walls there. Let's see how I can... Yeah, more erratic. So yeah, again, I think we might even have a potential carving of a Homotherium that was found somewhere. I remember, I believe it was Mauricio Antoine, Anton? I don't know how to say his last name for the life of me. It's one of the two. He does a lot of reconstructions of extinct mammals. He's done some of my favorite reconstructions of Smilodon in the past few years. But he mentions that carving in a blog post of his. I think it was about his book called Chasing Sabertooths, where it's kind of here's the evidence we have of this kind of cat. This is likely given the environment, yada yada yada. So it might look like this. It's got all sorts of really neat diagrams. I just want a copy. I have a mighty need, and it is for a copy of that book. Maybe we should start a GoFundMe page for that. See, another, I guess not as well known helid, but it's still fairly known, would be Dinophilis, which lived, I believe they also lived in Eurasia and Africa. I know for certain they lived in Africa. Let's see. Oh yeah, Europe, Asia, and Africa. So, oh my god, that's quite the temporal range. 5 million. Oh, even North America. Okay. So yeah, Dinophilis lived about 5 million to 1.2 million years ago, and it would have been hunting the same things that modern day lions and leopards and cheetahs would have been hunting, as well as whatever wonderful cast of extinct megafauna was there that we sadly lost to the ravages of time. But I do believe every now and again, more than likely, they would have hunted our ancestors, not Homo sapiens. They would have been extinct by that time. But Australopithecines, early members of the genus Homo. I know there are some other Machairodonts that lived roughly same time, roughly same place, that I believe were more likely to hunt our ancestors, just because I believe it, again, it's isotopic analyses. Because basically what an isotopic analysis is, it's seeing what you eat. Seeing from the memory serves. It's something about being able to find components of, other animals within, or other animals or plants within, I think bone histology. I don't remember. All I know, all that I remember, it's a thing that exists, and it can tell us a great deal about more recently extinct animals. But I do, if memory serves, I do believe it was hunting more along, again, the likes of antelope, or Dinofelis would have been hunting more along with things like antelopes, gazelles, things like that. Maybe not. I was going to say maybe rhinos, but maybe not that. Xenosmilus, I already kind of covered earlier. The cookie cutter cat. It's known from, I believe, the Southwest U.S. as well as potentially, or I guess the Southern U.S. as well as potentially Venezuela, depending on whatever those remains turn out to be. But it's been called, like I said, it's been called the cookie cutter cat. It's also been called the panda cat, I believe, and I think it was called that simply because it's got a kind of a panda. So pandas have a quote unquote extra digit. It's not an actual digit. It is just a bone in their wrist that has evolved to function like a digit that helps them when they're eating bamboo. And if memory serves, I believe Xenosmilus had something akin to it to help it hold on to prey. I don't remember. That might have just be way outdated now, because the last time I remember seeing it being called a panda cat was on a DeviantArt post years ago by an artist that I follow. So yeah, it may or may not be called panda cat anymore, or may or may not have ever been called the panda cat anymore. But you know what I mean. Hello, Cass.
Hello. Yeah, I would have greeted you up here, but I didn't want to interrupt Arch at the same time. Ooh, those sound good.
Well, we're already an hour or so in. Jeez. And I've been pretty much talking nonstop about saber-toothed cats. How is this looking so far, Aperion?
He said it's looking really good.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm getting lost in Discords again.
Oh, good.
Ah, you're making pretzels? Ah, give me. I want pretzels and popcorn and nachos. Those are my all-time favorites.
I do have popcorn.
Do not tempt me. Well, okay, I've got popcorn too, but
Is it gonna be just a day where we all get popcorn again?
mm, what I might do. Probably gonna make the spots bigger, but further towards the haunches.
Oh,
You
that
get
sucks, Cass.
what happened?
Her pretzel stuff molded. She's sad.
No, not the pretzels. I will fight. I will bite. If I can't bite pretzels, I'm gonna bite something else,
Oh.
or maybe someone else. Bite, bite,
Oh. Just munch.
crunch. I'm gonna munch. I'm gonna crunch.
Ow. Tempura shrimp it is. Okay.
Hmm.
Hmm?
I'm just thinking.
Mm.
Looking at what I got here. All right. think what I'm going to do so a lot more on the face, like what the leopard has,
Mm-hmm.
because the leopard has got spots all along this part of the bot or along this part of the face, and then it has almost all the way down to the nose.
Ooh, that sounds like a good idea, Cass.
Hmm.
She's gonna be cooking some crusted tilapia later.
Mmm. Fidge.
Vimsh. Oh, what brand? Excuse me. Fair enough.
All right, how's that look, Perion?
Looking great.
Any critiques? That is, I'm looking at chat right now. That is, I covered it earlier in the stream, but I can cover it again. That is the, that is a petroglyph from, again, I believe it's Arizona, might be New Mexico, but it likely depicts yeah, it likely depicts a saber-toothed cat.
Square.
Though some people have been saying no, it's clearly a bobcat. It's like I, I don't know. Like those, people who say, "Oh, it's a bobcat," say, "Oh, those are whiskers." Like I don't, those don't look like whiskers to me. Those look like saber teeth.
Mm-hmm.
So, what
Cass?
specifically in the face needed?
Cass suggested the muzzle could have a darker top bridge for the nose slightly faded.
Okay. I think I also will need to do anything with the rest of the markings on the body and make the face markings darker,
Yeah.
because that could definitely help.
Excuse me. Oh, are you talking about the petroglyph in that one, Cass? About the whiskers? Secretly, they used sabers as helicopter blades.
Jesus Christ. Y'all are terrible.
Yes.
That. Oops. There we go. Proof that saber-tooth tigers are quadrilateral. Um, how does this look, Marion? Better? The muzzle itself or the nose?
So the nose. You might
I'm
want to make it
just
like do it a little
yeah.
lighter, perhaps.
What I'm thinking. There we go.
There you go. There's a nose.
Well then,
Upper
I'm
lip
gonna go
area.
ahead. Huh?
What specific words? What specifically about the upper lip area, Farion?
Got little spots on the face there. On the really quickly.
He said so. He thinks it needs a bit of color change.
Lighter here. Let me.
Lighter. There you go.
Lighter still.
Perfecto.
Okay. Well then, I guess what I'll do then is get the rosettes done, and then we'll move on to the next creature. Unless you want it just to be an hour long stream this time of Carry On instead of a 2 hour.
He said always stick with the program. 2 hours.
Okay. Gotcha. Well then, once I get done with these rosettes, I will just go nonstop about my favorite group of sauropod dinosaurs then.
Alrighty.
And why Saltosaurus is the best dinosaur period and nobody can change my mind. That's a little too bright. There we go.
There we go.
How does that look, Aperion?
He's a perfect.
All right. Well then, time to save.
Very good.
All right. So our next creature is Saltosaurus, which is, like I said earlier, a very near and dear dinosaur to my heart. When I was a little bitty baby Arch, I'm gonna quickly. Jeez. Didn't do any favors. There we go. When I was a little itty bitty baby Arch, I had a stuffed Saltosaurus from the dinosaur ride at Disney World, and she was my best friend when I was little. So, uh, so yeah, this should be a little bit easier to do than the saber-toothed cat. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to really see if I can find some info on the formation Saltosaurus is from. Here it is, the Leche Formation. So, coastal plain environment, then. Okay, that's interesting. Wow. Wow. And there are only 2 non-avian dinosaurs from this formation. Saltosaurus and Noasaurus. Everything else in this formation is Neonantiornithine bird. Holy cow. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 Enantiornithine birds. 2 non-avian dinosaurs. And that's not even including the multiple species of one of these Enantiornithine. Jeez. I wonder what led to that sort of preservational bias. Because normally, when you
Sorry, there's a screaming cat.
yeah, because normally when you have a formation that is preserving larger animals, you're not really going to find the smaller ones. But obviously, the Lecho formation was, I guess, just different. That was so weird. Okay, turn the carrot into a dark. Oh, that's not the keratin. That's the keratin. Detail. Oh. Okay, well.
Oh, itchy. Yeah. There we go. Ace has taken up residence between my back and my chair.
Mm. There we go. Hmm. trying to find. Here we go. Sorry, I was trying to find a list of animals that tend to live on coastal plains,
Mm-hmm.
but
No, you're
I'm
good.
not really finding anything, which stinks. Because all it's just being very generic. Like, oh yeah, birds, lizards, fish, amphibians. It doesn't specify what. It's just like, can you specify, please, and thank you. That is all I ask for. Yeah, I can't find anything. Oh well, I guess we're just gonna wing it.
Wing it we go.
If I can get on the right layer.
Make sure you're on the proper layer.
We'd think since I have fewer layers on this one, it would be easier. But obviously, that's not the case. So, Saltosaurus is a Titanosaur sauropod. And for many years, it was crowned as one of, if not the smallest sauropod, which is interesting because when you think of a sauropod dinosaur, you tend to think of something like Brachiosaurus, or Diplodocus, or Argentinosaurus, these really big, these huge creatures that, these roamed around the earth and dwarfed every other thing in their ecosystem. Saltosaurus was not that. Saltosaurus is on. It is still kind of small. It is on the smaller scale of the sauropod family, but it is no longer the smallest. That has since been taken by some fellow titanosaurs such as Megarosaurus and another titanosaur that lived alongside it, and as well as the ever infamous now Europasaurus, thanks to Joshua Nupe's little novel, which I so want to read. His art is so good. But beside yeah, strong. Jeez. Trying to say besides and despite at the same time does not work out. Besides that, Saltosaurus is still a decently sized animal. Some estimates place it anywhere between 30 and 40 feet long, which, I mean, that's still pretty hefty. So, and this thing probably weighed anywhere between 8 and 12 tons, I want to say. One of Saltosaurus's most defining traits are the osteoderms on its back. In fact, when Titanosaur osteoderms were first discovered, it was originally thought that they had found the remains of Ankylosaur, which, I mean, if you look at them, you can kind of see it.
Yeah.
And as such, the theory about these osteoderms are for defense arose. But many titanosaurs, such as Rapidosaurus, and I believe some that have been attributed to Alamosaurus, don't really cover the majority of the back like they do with Saltosaurus. In fact, they're more restrained to more or less the base of the tail and along the tail to an extent. It is now hypothesized that these osteoderms were extra reserves for minerals and fats and things like that, depending on the species. Because I do believe, if memory serves, they had done. It was either a CT scan or just outright cut open the osteoderm of a Rapidosaur, which is a species of sauropod from. Excuse me. It's a species of sauropod from Madagascar, the Titanosaur, and I think it was like hollow or had a really spongy. No, it wasn't hollow. I'm pretty sure it had that kind of spongy texture inside the osteoderm, like what one would see on. You cut up on, I guess, the limb bone of a bird. You can see all the little structures and stuff like that in the limb bones. So yeah, we still don't necessarily know what these osteoderms were really for. Could have been for defense. Could have been for again, fat or mineral storage, because some titanosaurs like Rapidosaurus lived in not seasonally tropical, it's seasonal environments. Memory serves, the formation that Rapidosaurus is from, which is the same area that our favorite quote, favorite cannibalistic dinosaur, Majungasaurus, is from. Was very arid for a good portion of the year. I've got so many thoughts going in my head, I can't really express them all. So many cool stuff about sauropods and titanosaurs in particular. Sauropods as a whole, yeah, they have a huge temporal range. They seem to start off, or at least the sauropodomorph clade seemed to be one of the first lineages of dinosaurs to arrive. As of right now, among the earliest members known are the little Buriolestes, which I believe is from Venezuela, and the famous Eoraptor, which is a member of the sauropodomorph lineage, apparently. And, of course, as the Triassic continued, the sauropodomorphs kind of diversified. So we get things like Unaysaurus, then we get things like Clydeosaurus, Amasaurus, all that sort of stuff. Your typical prosauropods, as you think of, like a staple of Triassic dinosaur fauna. Near the very end, though, you start to get, I believe they're called neosauropods or eusauropods. I think they're eusauropods. So this is the kind of the group that encompasses a lot of late Triassic, early to middle Jurassic sauropods. So things like Volcanodon. What's it called? It's kind of a weird name. Agmigdalodon, I think. Hold on, let's see. Amygdalodon from Middle Jurassic of Argentina. I take that back. Unless this is okay, yeah, that doesn't. Okay, but the Eusauropoda, they first arise somewhere in the early Jurassic. I've heard some reports saying no, they arose in the late Triassic, but I don't know if there's really anything to go off of with that. There might be, there might not be. But the Eusauropods, they diversified into several various families, like the Cytiosaurs, the Mamenchisaurs, and then the Neosauropods, which include the Diplodocus and the Macronarians, which, Macronarians are the sauropod, I guess, superfamily that made it to the end of the Cretaceous. Some other famous Macronarian sauropods include the likes of Camarasaurus, Brachiosaurus, Giraffatitan, and the Macronarians themselves split into several different groups, including the Titanosaurs, which is fairly interesting because for such a supposedly long-lived group, we've got possible Titanosaur remains going back to the Jurassic period. It doesn't really seem that until the end of the early Cretaceous or the beginning of the late Cretaceous where they really boom in diversity, which honestly, thinking about it, would make sense because somewhere around there, the last Diplodoctoids, which we will see a member of that group when we get into the tier 4s, they just kind of teetered out after that part of the Cretaceous, and they went poof. And, of course, the Titanosaurs kind of rose to take their place in everywhere except for North America, which is very interesting because in the early Cretaceous, you have lots of sauropods in North America. You have things like Abetasaurus, you have Sidarosaurus, Venenosaurus. These guys aren't all, I don't think they are all living at the same time, but very similar in time and, they're close in place. But the last of the North American sauropods is the Somphospondilian dinosaur Sauroposeidon, which, I'm sure a lot of people have at least heard of Sauroposeidon by this point. It's a large sauropod dinosaur that, like all large sauropods anymore, they get the whole, largest dinosaur ever found, yada, 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 and then it just gets dethroned by somebody new, or Argentinosaurus just is, comes in from the sidelines like, yeah, no, you're not there today, I'm you. Because that seems to be Argentinosaurus' whole thing, is that, yeah, I'm actually the biggest. All these other ones, like Palagotitan and Puertosaurus, are just, you're just wannabes.
Oh, behaviors on which ones, Cass?
Hmm.
Hold on 1 second, Arch. Behaviors for which creature? Oh, okay. So Cass wants to know if there are any evidence on possible behaviors for the creature you're currently...
Oh, for Saltosaurus?
Yes.
We can take inference from other related species, such as Nuquensaurus and, hell, even Alamosaurus, because Alamosaurus is in the same family of the Titanosaurs that Saltosaurus is in, the creatively named Saltosauridae. And of course, other groups of sauropods as well. So these guys likely would have been herd animals, and especially for Saltosaurus, if it lived, because again, we don't have a whole lot from the formation it's from, but we can extrapolate with other similarly aged formations as to what kind of creatures might have been present. Now, this is me extrapolating a little bit here. But we might, in the Lecho formation where Saltosaurus is from, there might have been a Belosaur, large Belosaurs like Carnotaurus. There might have been, what are they called? Panankylosaurus, I think that's what they're called, which is the group that includes Stegoros and Antarctopelta. Likely some sort of smaller nithopod dinosaurs, Alvarezsaurs, which are small bird-like dinosaurs that likely they pretty much evolved alongside eusocial insects. Likely the top predators of the region would have been Megaraptorans, like, Maip, Macrothorax. And, for an animal that is, this thing's only about, again, 30 to 40 feet long, you're probably going to want, safety in numbers. Like, sure, that tail could probably do some damage, but probably would be more of a last line of defense. There probably were also some larger sauropods in the region as well, but I mean, which would have helped Saltosaurus as far as its feeding behavior goes. Because again, like I keep saying, Saltosaurus isn't the biggest sauropod, so it couldn't reach. It wouldn't really be a high browser. It would be a low to mid browser type of an animal. Now, something interesting we do have from South America is a site called Alca Moevo, which literally means more eggs, because back, I think 70, 80 million years ago, it was a sauropod nesting site. And from what we can inference is that herds of sauropods would come to Alca Moevo annually and dig scrapes in the ground with their hind legs, specifically their hind legs, lay them, and then move on. They would, cover the eggs, with, debris, probably sediment, and, again, just leave them. Grade A parental care in dinosaurs right there. And it's thought, and this is also inferred from other species of sauropods as well, from earlier on, that the adult or the young animals would have hatched, gone to the safety of denser vegetation where they would grow into, subadult and juveniles and subadults, and as they got larger, they would be forced to kind of move out into more so the open plains and meet up with herds of their own kind. And they would get protection from the herd from predators.
All right, really quickly, Arch. Cass is curious if they could have been as aggressive as, maybe an elephant, because she's always seen them depicted as gentle giants.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely no doubt. Like, one description I've heard of sauropods in general is that they are pretty much walking buildings or living kaiju, just because of how massive lots of them were. Well, I mean, hey, what other analogy could you think of for an Argentinosaurus? Huh? That's really just like a walking building, over 100 feet long, 80 plus tons. The only thing alive today that you can compare that to on land would be a building. And, I mean, who's going to tell an Argentinosaur, or literally any large sauropod, what they should be doing or what they should not be doing? They're not going to care. So, they would definitely get away with being aggressive to other animals. But at that point, though, for an animal like an Argentinosaur or really big sauropods, it would probably be a waste of energy. Because an animal that big, with that kind of a metabolism, is going to be needing to eat a lot. And, of course, again, with these osteoderms that some of them had, probably would have been fat mineral storage. So, sure, some extra energy saved when times got lean, or maybe during, I guess, breeding seasons when males would probably duke it out with one another for, the rights of a harem or just a few females or something like that, or maybe an entire herd.
Yeah. Cass said some herbivores can be rather scary when they decide, yeah, no, goodbye.
Oh, yeah.
She thinks horses sometimes smother animals they get annoyed at. I've never heard of that myself, but...
Oh, no doubt. Zebras! Okay, they're not horses, but zebras are demons. If memory serves, one animal that has led to a good portion of injuries in captivity, like in zoos and wildlife parks, have been zebras. Because, if you think about it, though, it makes sense. Zebras are naturally found in an environment where there are loads of different predators. You've got painted dogs, lions, leopards, cheetahs, jackals, hyenas of various species. And you get any of those things coming after you. Okay, yeah, sure, your first thing is going to be to run. Because, zebras, if memory serves, they can run for longer than, say, a lion or a leopard can. But if they get, weighed down by anything, they're going to fight. I have watched videos of the annual migration event in the Masai Mara, of these wildebeest and zebras going across the river there, and the crocodiles attacking them. I remember watching one zebra get grabbed by a croc, and the zebra whirls around and bites it, and it actually makes the croc let go. Which, you think of a crocodile like, oh, they don't care about anything. They're bite first, questions later. You get bit by a zebra, that's probably gonna hurt a lot, probably. Camels are also very temperamental. They have killed people in the past. They have the dentition to do it. They actually have these enormous canines that it's. Ugh. If you ever see one, if you ever decide to try to find an angry camel, you'll wish you had. Like, whether it be on YouTube or something, they just look terrifying. There's this one video that I can think of. It's like at night, so the camel's got the eye shine, and it's baring its teeth. It's got its jaws wide open, and you can see on the incisors in the front, and then you see these massive canines that look like they would belong on some sort of carnivore. But how does this look, Aperion? Kind of simple, but I mean, this is a sauropod. So they probably weren't very vibrant or extravagant as far as their coloration goes. All right. Do we any critiques? Anything you think I should tweak?
Are you surprised the head looks like that? Looks like what?
Oh, like the shape of the head?
Yeah.
Well, it's actually really funny because, how titanosaurs, they radiated a lot after the diplodocus and these other sauropods went extinct. So those niches were left wide open. And in the southern hemisphere, where there weren't really a whole lot of larger nithopod dinosaurs to take over those roles, the saltosaurs, the Saltosaurian titanosaurs, kind of evolved to fill the niche that some of those diplodocus and those other types of sauropods had left vacant, the high and medium browsers. In fact, I think recently, it was in the last week or so, they actually named a new genus of titanosaur. I haven't gotten really a chance to look at it, but from what I remember reading, it's a quote-unquote Rabachisaur mimic. The Rabachisaurs are a group of diplodocoid sauropods that, if memory serves, the most well-known member of the family is Nitrosaur. So, you think of the fern mower, for lack of a better term. But let me see if I could actually. I'll have to find it somewhere else. Or let's see.
Miller.
What did he say?
Goofy eye, and then just showed a picture of the vertebrae. Tongues.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah. Kind of. Oh god, I can really see it with the face. Yes, tongue sauropod. Here, let me see. I gotta go through the ocean of sauropods that we have here.
Whee!
Sauriforms. Here, Titanosaurus. See if I can find. If I can find a good picture of a. Here we go. This is the skull of.
Sauropod looking like a stick.
Why? Okay. This is Tapuiosaurus. Let me see if I can find. All right, must be a Lithostrophian then. Here we go. It is a Lithostrophian titanosaur. Oh wow, that's actually fairly old. It's 125 million years old. But there is the skull.
Nice.
You go back to the Lithostrophians and see Titanosaurs. Do you have? Have any skulls from any of these guys? I don't have anything from Brontosaurus. I think it was Bonitosaur that had some interesting dentition. Maybe not. Okay, about Patagotitan. Do we have the skull of Patagotitan? I don't believe we do. Right. Classification. Okay. Of course, the curse of the sauropods. They're all lacking their skulls. That's an actual thing with sauropods. Their skulls are so lightly built. They just kind of are easily eroded away. Let's see if I can find. Have anything from Transformers? Oh wow, we have literally nothing from Skull except for. Okay. Oh, I know who to. Okay, let's see. No, it's. And here is the reconstructed skull of Nemegtosaurus. So if you look at that skull, you can see where the orbit would be the eye with the scleral ring, the anti-orbital fenestra, which is that kind of weirdly triangular hole, kind of diagonally down to the left from where the eye socket is, and then diagonally up to the left is where the nasal openings would have been. But as we now know, with sauropods, the nasal openings might have been, say, up here. Let me just kind of do a little doodle. And the nasal openings might have been like, oh, that actually was pretty nice. I might keep that. So yeah, the nasal openings might have been up there, but the actual nostrils would have been down here because it would have been big and fleshy, which is kind of weird to think about. But could have helped as a resonating chamber for these guys. I mean, sure, these animals are making long, low-frequency calls. Wait, no, I didn't want to. Okay. Crap. Oh well. Whoopsies! I didn't want to save it as that. Crap! I just overwrote the. Okay. Oh, I know what I can do. Find. There we go. These genomes. All right. But yeah, the sauropods are a weird bunch. They really, really are, because they hit their peak in the Jurassic, and they never really came down from it until the giant rock came in and blew everything away. Because since the late Jurassic, you have giants like Diplodocus, Supersaurus, Giraffatitan, and okay, there's a little bit of a dip there into the Cretaceous where they kind of shrink down a little bit, and then they grow again. They shrink down a little bit, and then they grow even more. And then sure, some shrink down by a whole lot. Others don't really shrink down at all. So yeah. Can you think of anything else to add, Aperion, or do you think it's good? All right, well then, that is 2 out of, 10 creatures already done?
Mm-hmm.
We've got a mammal, we've got an herbivore. We'll just need to figure out what tree to go down next. We need a carnivore or an avian, or a theropod or an avian, then a reptile. So, actually, Aperion, do you want me to go ahead and show off the Tier 2 chart real quick? So people can see how the base genomes... Alright. Let's see. Find it again. Charts. Here is the Tier 2 size chart for everybody. Here, let me just really quickly bring them all into view. So each box is a meter tall and a meter tall, a meter wide. And we've got everybody here in the lineup. Thylacoleo, Bathornis, Baryonyx, Dryptosaurus, Jushia, Kalenkin, Caprasuchus, Maip, Megalania, Pelagornis, Unanosaurus, Civatherium, Zuniceratops, and then towering above them all is Therizinosaurus. And last but not least, we have lovely little Tetrapodophis here. It was so tiny.
Little man.
This thing.
The littlest man.
Literally, this is the smallest
Where his
base
legs?
genome. Yeah, there's his hind limb.
Who took his legs?
And then there's his front limb.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfectly suited for the lifestyle he was living. It was an aquatic aquatic reptile. So
nobody took his legs, Miller. They're there. You just can't
they're
see
there.
them.
They're just really, really tiny. And that's not the only place where he shows up. He's also on top of the clipboard.
That's
just
adorable.
vibing. So, yeah, that is all the Tier 2 base genomes set up and ready to go.
So
Can't wait to get started on the actual hybrids themselves.
I think you told
so we
me
can
wrong.
see how they compare. I've got a feeling some of them are, most of them are probably going to be within the Maip and Therizinosaurus. I'm never going to get over that Maip. That looks so good. It's so gnarly. Put that back at... It had been. And I would say... yeah, pretty much similar. The entire thing is just pixel. Because of how tiny it is. So... I think I'm going to call it here. 9 minutes before the stream normally would have ended. But, hey. I mean, we got those two done fairly quickly.
And
it's just going to be on to working on the next one.
We're on Tier 2s, right?
Tier 3.
Tier 3?
Yes. All the tier 2s are done. They're in that chart there. So, yeah. We'll just have to figure out who to do next.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Cass.
Just got back in time.
Just got back in time for us to wrap things up. Yeah.
Yeah, the time went by super quick.
It really did.
Holy crap.
I mean, I guess that's what happens when you're working on 2 creatures that you pretty much already got done a long time ago, but
Yeah, fair enough. It just, whew.
That's neither here nor there.
Next time we do a hybrid. Oh, okay.
Hell yeah. Now, the only question that